You're listening to the Aggie News Student Podcast, a series by the orientation staff at Utah State University. Transitioning to college is exciting, but there's a lot to do and understand. We're here to talk you through it. I'm your host, Kylie Hopkin, the Orientation Program Coordinator here at USU, and we're so excited to have you join us. All right, welcome everybody. Today I have some fantastic guests with me and I'm so excited to dive into our topic. I'm just going to let you all start and introduce yourself right away. So we'll turn it over to you.
Hello, it's great to be here. Thanks for having us, Kylie. My name's Harrison Kleiner. I'm a philosophy professor here at Utah State. I'm also an associate vice provost who oversees general education and this Connections first year experience that we're here talking about today. I've been here since 2004 and love Utah State, love the students. I especially like working with new students. And so I'm glad to be here to talk about it today.
Hi, I'm Dr. Rose Judd Murray. I'm in the College of Agriculture and Applied Sciences. I'm an assistant professor and I specialize in non-formal and community-based education. I've been here officially since 2019. So this will be my third year and working with Connections. I work with Dr. Kleiner on the faculty committee for Connections. And I enjoy the purpose of this program. So it's a pleasure to be here and be on this panel today.
Hey, my name's Erin. I'm a member of the A team. I am a social work major and I'm going into my senior year this year. I'm from here in the Valley from a small town called Hyde Park. So I've always grown up by Utah State and I love Utah State.
And my name is Reagan Jensen. I am a member of the 2021 A team, currently a junior at Utah State studying psychology, and I'm from South Weber, Utah.
So today's topic is one of my very favorite things to talk about. It's one of my very favorite parts of my job and something that made a huge difference for me when I was coming to school. And that is the USU 1010 Connections course offered for incoming students here at the university. What is USU 1010?
Yeah, so Connections is a 2-credit academic course that students have the option to take either 3 days before the semester actually starts or during the first 7 weeks of their first semester here at Utah State. It's super helpful in connecting you to not only other students, but to the university. You go over a lot of different topics. It helps you kind of find your why. And not only do you get connected to a faculty mentor that you'll have throughout your entire first year, but you're also have the opportunity to be connected to a peer mentor who's a fellow student here at Utah State.
It's a really great opportunity to help you to maximize your opportunities here at Utah State. It teaches you about what resources we have available. It helps you to get more comfortable with campus and with other students.
Absolutely. And like you said, it's this 2-credit academic course that comes with a peer mentor and a faculty mentor to assist you with this transition. And you and Reagan get to be some of these peer mentors for students. Tell me a little bit about that. What are you looking forward to as a soon to be peer mentor for Connections?
I'm super excited to be able to get to know all of the incoming students who I'll have in my group, as well as to be able to kind of help them with that transition because I know that it is a big change. It was really hard for me coming into college to kind of know how to connect with people and know how to make friends and everything. And USU 1010 really helped me to be able to kind of make some friends right off the bat and be able to feel more comfortable in a place that seemed so new and so scary. So I'm super excited to be able to help facilitate that for our students.
I'm personally doing a 7-week version, so I'll be with my students for those first 7 weeks. I send out like weekly emails and we meet with our students. It's a super fun time to kind of get to know a group of incoming students a little bit more. We have a lot of fun. I personally have a lot of fun. I hope they do too, but it's a good time.
Fantastic. So this course is designed to ease your transition to Utah State, regardless of if you're coming straight from high school or you took time off, maybe you're coming from another institution, you're transferring to the university, and it helps with that transition by helping you understand the purpose of higher education and how you can take advantage intentionally of the opportunities that you will have available to you. Harrison and Rose, you both play a big role in the overseeing and the planning of the curriculum of this course. Tell me a little bit about that and the role that you play. You also both teach the class and have sections of the class. And what is this experience like for you all getting ready for our students that are going to come here in just a few short weeks?
Maybe Rose, I'll start and talk a bit about the curriculum, and then I'd love for you to maybe speak in the kind of the instructor side of it, your experience teaching it. So the genesis of the curriculum, which is really cutting edge, and a whole bunch of universities around the country actually trying to copy what USU is doing with this course because it's been so successful. And some of it came out of some experiences from some faculty members, myself included, where we realized that a lot of students were coming into the university and they didn't know, it was kind of, they went to college because that's the thing you do after high school, which is fine. But it's not a particularly intentional approach to starting college. It's kind of, oh, this is the next thing I'm going to do. And then they get to school and the university, of course, asks them to do certain things. There's general education requirements and they'd be frustrated. Why am I having to do this? And why am I having to do that? And what we realized as we started talking to students is that no one was ever engaging with incoming students with the question of, what is this place and what do I do while I'm here? And what am I supposed to get out of it? And how does it help me for once I graduate? Which seems like a perfectly obvious conversation to have when you put it that way, but we were never creating a space in the curriculum to have that conversation with students. And so that's what the curriculum's all about. It's, what is the purpose of higher education? What is this place all about? How does the curriculum that I'm going to engage in intersect with my own goals and my own interests and who I want to become and what I want to do, after college? How do I engage myself in this process of becoming educated, connect with resources, be really intentional about my educational choices, be self-directed? And how do I get engaged with the community? That's what the course is all about. And it gives students an opportunity, the curriculum, to reflect on their own, who do I want to become? What's my why? And this is the thing with college that you incoming students will quickly find out. University is going to ask you to do a lot of what's and hows, but a what and how doesn't matter or seem meaningful unless you've got a why, unless you have some, I know why I'm doing this and why it's valuable to me. And so the course is an opportunity in a small classroom experience with really caring faculty members and peer mentors to engage in some really interesting discussions about what the university's for and who we all want to become.
I think that's so important, Harrison. One of the things that I think about a lot when I'm putting together my connections class is I know that I'm going to have 3 intensive days. Most of our connections classes are about 30 students, give or take, on either side of that. And so I know that I have to maximize that experience to help students understand what are the options, what are the reasons it could be a why, right? There's more than one reason for each student, and each student gets to be their own individual. But it's also really important to me to think about those 3 days as my opportunity as an instructor, as an advisor, as a mentor, to just open up that pathway to make it that transition between you have been living under somebody else's care to a certain extent. Young adults, you're making decisions, you're driving cars, you're going on trips, you're earning money, you're saving that, you're learning how to spend in the ways that you want to spend, and you're figuring out how you want to live your life and what you want your big goals to be. And I love what Dr. Kleiner said, because we ask you to really think about some big questions. We have these 3 big questions, and along with those questions, getting you to think about what are you going to do here, and how are you going to get engaged, and how are you going to make the most of your experience here at Utah State University. I also know that there are logistical things that will make this transition easier. And so not only do I want to talk about those big questions, and I want to get you excited, and I want to teach you the school song and give you a tour and introduce you to new friends, but I also want you to understand, how do I contact my professor? How do I get an ID card? How do I find my grades? We've had a real year, like 18 months really, of some difficult things. And I'm ready. I'm ready to wiggle back into this space where you're meeting face to face with a professor. You're getting in that space where you're asking those questions and you're getting into a study group. And how do you sign up to get a study room at the Huntsman Hall or in the library? And how do you print something on campus? I think connections is the way that you can reduce the amount of stress and anxiety that comes from having those big life transitions take place.
I'm always discouraged when I have students tell me that their high school teachers or high school guidance counselors, I'm sure not all do this, but apparently some, communicate this message that when you get to college, boy, you're on your own, and your professors aren't going to care about you and whether or not you're sink or swim. It's just not true. USU is invested in students being successful, and your faculty care about you and they want you to have a good experience here, and the staff. And I mean, there's this army of people with helping events happen, helping you get engaged, organizing clubs on the academic side, in and outside of the classroom, curricular and extracurricular experiences. No one comes in here and is on their own and sink or swim and it's all up to you. There are tremendous people here, faculty and staff across the board at every corner of the campus, who are invested in your success. Connections is a great opportunity to not have to learn how to kind of navigate that. This is a big place, and there's every resource you can imagine. I mean, there's every club you can imagine. There's a napping club. I mean, that's how many clubs there are. There's a club of students who go and I guess take naps together on hammocks somewhere or something. So there's something for everybody, but it's a big place. And you can stumble through and figure it out the hard way, navigating those things kind of on your own and lucking into discovering some things. Connections is kind of like, let's help you, know what this place is, know what's here, know how to navigate. Rose, I really liked how you put that Connections is a mix of, on the one hand, really high level, cool, interesting, big meaning of life almost kinds of questions, right? That are important to think about when you're engaging in this transition and, in a way, starting adulthood, right? And starting your own path. But then it's also that combined with a bunch of really concrete, immediately applicable, oh, here's how I register for courses. Here's how I should word emails when I email my professor. Here's how I get a meal plan. I mean, whatever it might be, it's a really great mix of big thinking that helps the whole experience be more meaningful in college, and then nitty gritty stuff that you don't have to learn the hard way.
Absolutely. And I have the opportunity of not only getting to teach Connections, I teach a 7-week version of the course, but I also work with our peer mentors and incoming students and helping convey this message out. And one of the very best ways that I have heard this described is from a peer mentor we had a few years ago, who said, Connections is going to help you align your expectation for college with what college actually is. Let's help you understand some of these big questions that guide this curriculum. Why am I here? How do I fully engage as a member of this new community that I'm a part of? But also where the rec center is, and what your ID card gets you access to, and all of the things needed to really fully engage in this new experience of being a member of the Aggie family and being here at Utah State. And that's both in and out of the classroom and the academic side, but also how do you, maybe have a little courage and talk to the person sitting next to you on the bus, even though it's hard. And let's, give you opportunities to engage with other people that are in the exact same incoming student situation that you are. And I think that that is kind of where I hope we can get a message across is like, it's important. It's important that you take this course. And we know that we have the data that shows students who take this class are more likely to persist to graduation than their counterparts that don't. And so there is curriculum and there are assignments that you're asked to do. And it's not just like, I'm going to hang out for 3 days or 7 weeks. And like, we're going to ask you to do stuff, but we're also going to support it with the why and why it's meaningful. And there are a lot of people who spend a lot of time making sure the curriculum of Connections does just that. And that it's not just, I'm going to have you write this paper and I'm going to have you do a tour over here, that it's all meaningful experiences. And how cool is that to be a part of this big incoming class? And I mean, we have 94 sections of fall Connections, and I think 86, 87 of them are in that 3 days before school starts. And so what a neat shared experience for our incoming students to be a part of something bigger than themselves that also is setting them up for success through this new experience that they're just barely starting.
Most incoming students at Logan campus choose to take it. It's more than 70%. And it's just for the reasons you said. And these kind of big experiences, there's the curriculum of the course and all these great relationships with peers and faculty that you're going to have. But there's also some involvement in some really cool Aggie traditions. The Luminary, which is this awesome event with 3,000 students in the spectrum and on the quad, with these cool lanterns and lighting the A blue to celebrate the new students. And so there's some really cool kind of beginning, some of your first Aggie traditions, happen during Connections, and they're really meaningful parts of our campus life.
For me, the Luminary kind of just helps me really feel like I belonged at Utah State, I guess, which kind of sounds cheesy and stupid, but I don't know. It just felt like we all came together, we were all connected, and it just made me feel comfortable. It made me feel like I had a place and I mattered and I was important.
Yeah, it's a really neat, culminating, shared experience among those in the class. And I agree. It's a pretty incredible thing to be a part of because you can see it on everyone's faces. They're so excited to be a part of something bigger than themselves. And I think that that's a huge piece of this course, is that you are a part of something bigger than yourself, and it's this Connections class, and it's also the Aggie family, and it's your time at Utah State, right? And all that the opportunity and potential for opportunity and responsibility there is pretty incredible.
Can I chime in there? I also really want to emphasize, last year was the first year we implemented the faculty mentoring relationship. I feel like maybe that gets lost in the selling of Connections that, it's 3 days, we come to campus, it's, you learn these things. Yes. But I really think if a student is paying attention in Connections, that the big payoff comes from that faculty mentor. And I don't say that lightly. This is something that we have invested instructor training in. It's something where we have given specific effort to, and from the whole organization of Connections, right? Where we're looking at the type of messaging, the way that we mentor, the way that we connect, how frequently we connect, and the way that some of the mentoring is required and some of it's just reaching out. If a student is really looking to take advantage of what Connections can offer for them, they will understand that role of their instructor mentor, because it is a 1 year. I mean, we really focus on fall semester. We know if we can get you through fall semester, you're probably going to get your wobbly legs under you and you'll be able to take off. But I know personally, last year, I worked with my students all the way through the end of spring semester and wished them well after graduation and on to the summer. And the students who continued to connect, who continued to check in, ask questions, come and visit, spend some time during my office hours or through a quick Zoom call, they were the students who really received some specific help. I had a student who finally admitted to me that they were having a lot of shoulder pain. And he said, you know what I really need is a physical therapist. I don't even know how to do this. He's like, if I was at home, I would know how to do this, but I don't know how to do this here. Can I do this on campus? And I'm afraid that it's going to cost so much money I won't be able to afford it. Within an hour, we had him set up with a physical therapist, got him an appointment, and a week later he emailed me and said, I had no idea that a faculty mentor could help me, deal with this physical pain that I was having. And I know that seems like a little thing, but it was a big thing to him. And I think that kind of thing happens all the time in these mentoring relationships. And so I do want to emphasize the importance of that if you are registered for Connections and you're planning to be here on campus, say hi, put your name tag on that first day, introduce yourself. When your instructor reaches out to you during Connections, after Connections, first of the semester, invites you to the, coffee and donuts on the quad, the second week of semester, or, Subway sandwiches, go to there, be a part of that, because those relationships can turn into something not only helpful, but very long lasting.
Absolutely. And I think one of my favorite things that I get to talk about with my Connection students and that this course offers for incoming students is, we've talked a lot about it's going to help you find your why. It also helps you understand your opportunities and responsibilities as a student. And I love when it comes time and I get to have those conversations, both in a big class setting and one-on-one with my students, because there's both, right? We have a ton of opportunities at our institution for incoming students. The class itself is an incredible opportunity and offers many, many additional opportunities like this faculty mentoring, our peer mentoring, the, experiences that come along with the course. But there's also responsibilities for our students. And part of that is, being engaged with your faculty member, being engaged with your student, the fellow students and your peers in your class, your peer mentor. All of those opportunities are there, but it takes the student taking advantage of them to really have those meaningful relationships. I echo everything on the faculty mentoring side. I hope I get to hear from my students for years and years and years to come, but I know that there's some that aren't going to, simply because they didn't take advantage of the time to cultivate that relationship when I was their assigned mentor. And so they absolutely can reach out at any point in time. But if you really are serious about wanting that relationship and that faculty mentor, put in the effort. Talk to them when they ask you questions and engage with them in their office hours, answer their emails, right? Little things that then set you up to continue that mentor relationship as we move forward.
Hey, Kylie, there's another piece to that too that just put into my mind. One of the nice things about Connections is it's kind of a safe space to stumble a little bit early, right? Of how I interacted with the professor, or the work I did on that assignment, or that I didn't plan my time very well. And so I'm kind of in a jam with this other assignment. Part of Connections is it's a place for you to first have an academic experience here, but in a really welcoming environment where there's, hey, look, we know you're transitioning. And it's better to look, almost all students and people, everyone slips and falls on their face every once in a while. And that's fine. There's a lot to learn from the mistakes that we make. Better, though, to slip and fall in the Connections course, where then you've got this really caring instructor who's assigned to be your mentor, who says, hey, all right, what can we learn from that little slip and fall you just had? And how would we do that differently? And here's this resource you could take advantage of to learn how to avoid that mistake in the future. Better to have that little slip and fall with a caring Connections mentor in the Connections course than mid-semester in your intro to physics class, right? Where the context is a little bit different. Now, that faculty member is going to be caring too. But one of the nice things about Connections is you give it a go and you see how it goes and you learn some early lessons of, oh, that's not going to work now that I'm in college. That might have worked for me in high school. It's not playing well here. It's a kind of nice, safe environment to learn some of those kind of first time hard lessons.
Absolutely. A lot of college and kind of figuring all of this out, it's not that different from the rest of life, right? There's a lot of trial and error. And if you can start that process in connections with a faculty mentor and a peer mentor there to support you, I agree. It's fantastic. We've talked a lot about why students should take this course. And I kind of want to put you on the spot a little bit, Reagan, because you had a different experience as you came in. You didn't choose to take the USU 1010 Connections course. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes. So me being my naive little freshman self, did not sign up for USU 1010 Connections, and I like to tell my students and the incoming students that I interact with that it's like my biggest regret that I've had at college so far. I came in straight out of high school, super lost and kind of confused. And just as kind of to bring back on what everybody else is talking about, is I kind of like missed out on that opportunity to find that confidence in how to navigate college, and navigate those faculty relationships with roommates and with friends, and really also like finding my why. It took me a really long time being almost a junior, entering my third year this upcoming fall. I think I would say up until my last semester, I was still kind of lost on why I was really at college, what my purpose was, like what I was really trying to do. And when I like take a step back and kind of compare, and not compare in a bad way, but look at my experience next to people that I went through connections, like my roommates specifically, they felt a lot more comfortable in Utah State in interactions a lot quicker than I did. It took me stepping out of my comfort zone and trying to navigate things by myself to find my why. And I just wish so much that I could go back and take it. Now, that doesn't mean that I didn't feel supported as I was like here as a student, right? But it definitely took a lot longer for me to feel that comfort and feel that confidence.
Absolutely. We talk about some really crucial things in this course. So you can expect to get kind of the tips and tricks and insider information about, this study spot, and here's how you go to the library and get a room, and here's how you use your ID card for sporting events. You're also going to have conversations about becoming a learner and what that means. We've already heard from Matt on the podcast previously. We're going to talk about some conflict and how you communicate through and resolve conflict. We're going to talk about things like building a learning community and building habits of mind that are going to serve you while you're at Utah State and while you're in college, but even beyond that as you continue out through your life. Some of my favorite conversations are talking about overcoming challenges and resilience and being an upstander, as well as, how do I navigate this new place that I'm in? Oftentimes, though, we hear from students, I am coming from another institution, or I took concurrent enrollment, so I'm good. I don't need to take connections because I'm not coming straight from high school. I took some time off for some, service or military or whatever it might be. I'm good. I don't need connections. And I would love to hear from any of you your thoughts as a response, because those students often then get here and get, a little bit into the semester and think, oh, this is not what I thought it was going to be. What would you say to those students that think, I've got some credits under my belt. I'm coming in with some AP classes. I don't really need this course that you're talking about.
Matt Sanders in the podcast might have mentioned this, but one of the lines in his book is that the hardest thing to know is the thing that you think you know. It's actually a bit of old Socratic wisdom, if I may make a philosopher's aside. Real wisdom, Socrates says, is knowing what you don't know. Because when you know what you don't know, you don't have a kind of false comfort and false confidence of, I know just what I'm doing, when you don't. So I think that kind of, I don't need this. Well, I think everyone is benefited all the time in all walks of life, including starting college or by engaging in some kind of, the fancy term is metacognitive reflection, thinking about why I'm doing what I'm doing. Because when you think about why you're doing what you're doing, you end up doing it differently. And you end up taking advantage of opportunities more because you're just more intentional. And so I think to those students, I would say, be careful about thinking that you know what you know when you may not. Because what often happens, as you suggested, Kylie, is students get frustrated at some of the things the institution's asking them to do because they never had this opportunity like you can have in Connections to, why are they asking me to do that? And how does that align with my interests and my goals and who I want to become and what I want to do? And engaging in that conversation. Otherwise, you just end up being frustrated that I'm having to do X, Y, and Z. And of course, frustration means you're less engaged. You're less likely to take it seriously because you don't have a why. You're kind of angry at the institution for doing the thing that the institution's actually promising you if you understood the promise of higher education more fully. So I just think humility is a virtue. And so, take the opportunity to engage in some reflection. You're going to spend a lot of money going to college. Happily, USU is relatively affordable, but it's an investment to go to college. Make the most of the investment by right out of the gate reflecting on what this experience can be for me. And Connections is the place where we create the opportunity to have that conversation.
I just kind of think that going off of what Harrison was talking about, if you have the opportunity to kind of refresh and go a little bit deeper into something that you've spent time focusing on, I don't know why you wouldn't take it, right? And coming from like the logistics side, if you're new to Utah State, right, you're going to get all of these tidbits of information of how to like utilize your ID card, right? Like how we talked about earlier. And just having that under your belt while you're doing that first semester is never a bad thing.
So, just kind of as I'm winding things down and wrapping things up, we've talked a lot about why students should take this class. And I just want to then reiterate and remind the students that maybe are already registered in the course that like registering is the first step. Register for the class. That's awesome. And we're really excited to have you. But then be very present and intentional with the experience once you're there. We get asked a lot, who should I sign up for Connections with? Which instructor's best? And the reality is that we turn away fantastic instructors, we turn away fantastic peer mentors because we simply can't take the number of people that want to be involved in this course. It doesn't matter who your peer mentor is, it doesn't matter who your instructor is, but once you're there, engage with them and really try and wring every ounce of experience out of this course. And I promise you, it will set you up to then do that in your classes and in your extracurriculars. And if you're doing research or working on these big projects, right, all of this culminating experience of what college is, you will be better prepared to make the most of it. And so as we move forward, I would love to hear from each of you. Any final thoughts?
I would just say get super excited. If you're not signed up for Connections, then sign up for Connections. It's a super awesome time. Get excited for Utah State. It's okay to be nervous though as well, and we'll help you work through and walk through all of those different things.
I think coming from the peer mentor side, being able to observe my past classes, watching students that come in and are open and ready to engage and to learn in whatever the Connections course has to offer, grow their confidence and are so much more successful throughout these, like their next semesters throughout the course. So I would just say come in ready to learn and ready to engage. Take advantage of every opportunity that's given to you because Utah State has put a lot of effort and the faculties and peer mentors have put a lot of effort into it also. So take advantage of it and you'll get a lot out of it.
I'll add to what Reagan said there. I think being vulnerable is tough. And as you come here, you feel, I see students put up the walls because they don't want to seem silly or stupid or unknowing or uncool. And that's hard because you're trying to be an adult and you thought you outgrew it. And I got news for y'all. It doesn't get better. You just learn to deal with it differently as you get older. That vulnerability and being able to be vulnerable as you do new things, I would just say, try not to put your armor up too strong that first couple of days. I think I agree with what Reagan just said. When you're open to the full experience, to the new experience, and you just are able to embrace it as a new experience rather than trying to wear your protective armor, that's a hard thing. It's a hard thing for me as an adult. It's a hard thing for other kids in the class. I think it's important to recognize that all the adults in the room are probably feeling something similar on some level. And so just being able to understand, yep, we're all here. We're all going to get in the pool. We're all going to take part in this experience is really important. As you move through the course and the material and the practices and the experience of college, being able to recognize that everybody is in a real vulnerable situation is so important. Nobody's got it all figured out. And if they tell you that they do, they are lying. That's just my general take on that. As someone who went to grad school a lot, many times for many years, and I think, Harrison knows where I'm coming from. It's just, it's always hard to start. It's hard when you're a freshman. It's hard when you're a grad student. It's hard when you've, even starting my PhD program, and I had 20 years experience as an educator. It's intimidating. And I get that, but strong back, soft heart, kind of channeling a little bit of Dr. Brene Brown into all of it. Do what you need to do, but get ready to be open to the experience. And I think it will really serve you well.
Yeah, I love that. And I want to build on something Reagan said too. I joined a gym a couple years ago for a year, and I didn't ever take advantage of the free personal trainer session. And then I never went to the gym. And they charged me the monthly thing, of course, the entire month. And at the end of the year, I was still a little bit overweight and not in very good shape. The university in some ways can be like that. You're going to pay tuition, and you'll pay the same tuition, whether you seize the opportunity or whether you kind of slouch through your courses. It will cost the same. And what Connections is an opportunity to think about the meaning of this experience, about who you can become. It's an extraordinary opportunity to get to go to college, and the opportunity to become an educated person, to become a lifelong learner. And you can try to kind of figure that out on your own, or you can take advantage of the personal trainer who's offered to you. And then to Reagan's point, but of course, you've got to be engaged as the student. Matt probably talked about this in the Becoming a Learner podcast. Every experience you have is a learning experience. Inside the classroom, outside the classroom, with your roommate in the dorm room, at the club, at the dining hall, whatever. You learn from everything. Of course, you learn more if you're intentional about your learning, and you're thinking and you understand the value of that learning, and it's directed towards who you want to become. And you've thought about your why and the kinds of things you want to cultivate in yourself in terms of your habits of mind and your character and everything else. The Connections experience is the opportunity to take advantage of the personal trainer and to have the exercises that the university will ask you to engage in be more meaningful for you, because then you'll get more out of it. And you will be then more fit when you graduate, more mentally fit. You'll have a collection of habits of mind that'll make you successful in the workplace, as a citizen in a complicated world with lots of thorny problems, in your personal life when you're navigating lots of complicated decisions in your own personal life and your family. Seizing that opportunity Connections, I just think, is a great way to get a strong start at it.
If you are an incoming student listening to this podcast and you take nothing else away, I hope that you know and take away that you belong here and you can do it and you don't have to do it alone. This course is not required, but we talk about it with such passion and fervor and like beat a dead horse because we know the difference it can make for you as an incoming student. And so as you get ready to attend Utah State, we hope that you will know that. Will know that you can do this and you don't have to do it alone, because there are tons of people here, including those involved with the Connections course, that have your back and want you to be successful. As we wrap things up, I'm going to remind you, like I always do, follow us at USU A-Team on Instagram. You can email us at orientation@usu.edu. We are here to help. And we are going to put the links to how to register for Connections and more information about the course in the show notes. But you can also reach out to our office at any point in time, and we will walk you through the process and help you get registered for this course. It is not too late to add it to your schedule if that's something that you're interested in doing. Go back, listen to other episodes of the podcast, and stay tuned for more episodes to come. We've got some really great things in the works. And reach out if you have questions about this or anything else. We are here to answer those questions for you, and we look forward to hearing from you. We'll see you next time. Thanks, and go Aggies.